Double shakeup at the Savannah-Chatham Metro Police Department. According to Brett Bell, the public information officer for the city, there will be a major announcement from City Hall later today. This has to do with rumors that Police Chief Willie Lovett will either step down or retire. Last night, Bell told us that is not happening. Now he says that we can expect official word in a memo or email late this afternoon, but no official confirmation that the chief is leaving. Connie Cooper has been following this story since we first told you about it here on WTOC last night, and Connie joins us now from police headquarters. So, Connie, what have you learned?
Well, I got off the phone late this afternoon with Elaine Lovett, that's Chief Lovett's wife, and she tells me, quote, "We are still in America and people are innocent until proven otherwise," and he has the backing of his family 150%. This is the latest in a month of controversy for the chief and the department. It started with news that two captains are suing the chief, claiming racial discrimination. Then it came to light that neither the U.S. attorney nor the DA are willing to prosecute cases involving another two officers, Star Corporal Willett Williams and Sergeant Malik Khalees. When Lovett was sworn in as chief back in 2010, he was widely heralded, a hometown officer who grew up in Savannah and rose through the ranks since joining the department back in 1974. Today, I spoke with Otis Johnson. Johnson was mayor when Lovett was named chief, and he said that after two stints as interim, crime numbers down under both of those stints, the executive committee tasked with finding a chief thought Lovett had earned the position, but that, quote, "Now we will have to see how the investigation unfolds." Now, here at headquarters today, no one has seen the chief, which is interesting in and of itself, but I spoke with the man who trained Chief Lovett back in 1974. We'll have his take on everything coming up on the news at 6. Live at headquarters, Connie Cooper, WTOC News.
And coming up on the news at 6, WTOC's Don Lagana is at City Hall, where, as we told you earlier here on WTOC, city officials, county officials meeting. He will have a live report with the latest information. Taking a live look now at WTOC.com, where you can read the city memo of harassment allegations and previous stories about Chief Lovett. Just click on the local tab right there on the homepage.
They're telling us now that they are not going to take any questions from us after this. They read our statements about the police chief's future, so we're going to wait for them to come down now and tell us about what's going to happen here with the police chief and the future of the Savannah-Chatham Metro Police Department. Seen anything like this whirlwind of what we've seen in the history of the police department since the merger and before the merger.
Really, especially not in such a harried fashion. You know, you would hear there's a problem, they're investigating, there's something going on, and eventually a chief would, shall we say, change course in his career, would step down, would be asked to step down. But not like this. 24 hours ago, this was just barely a beginning of a bump on the road. And I don't know, Dawn, you have seen the same kinds of things, and never one like this. Never one like this. And our police department has certainly been such a stable police department. We haven't had very many police chiefs in the history. The mayor now. Okay. We'll hear right now what's going to happen.
I have City Manager Stephanie Cutter and County Manager Russ Abel. Thanks, guys. Stephanie?
Thank you all for joining us today. Today, myself and County Manager Russ Avold accepted the retirement notice effective immediately of Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Chief Willie Lovett following 40 years of service. While Metro Police serves both the city of Savannah and the unincorporated Chatham County, the Chief of Police is a City of Savannah employee. I will consult with Mr. Avold together with the rest of the policy committee, including the mayor and commission chairman, to create a process on the selection of a new police chief. In the interim, we've appointed a 3-person transition team led by former Major Juliet Tolbert, appointed acting chief, Savannah Impact Program Director Terry Enoch, to serve as acting assistant chief, and downtown precinct Captain Mike Wilkins to serve as acting major. All three of these individuals have proven themselves as high-performing law enforcement professionals. We have the utmost confidence in each of them. They will join the rest of the outstanding command staff, Major Zapel, Major Branson, and Major Wildwell, along with the 842 SEMPD employees. We have lots of work to do. There's so much of violence on our streets, particularly involving our young people. We will not be satisfied until every resident of this community feels comfortable with walking on any street, day or night. But Savannah, Chatham is safer today than it has been in a long time. This is progress. It's not a result of just one individual. It is not the result of one police department or one criminal justice system. This is the result of an entire community working together. I ask the residents of this community to join us and to continue to support us during this period of transition. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe Brett has passed out or is now passing out to you a copy of a statement, a memorandum, if you will. It was signed by myself and City Manager Stephanie Cutter that has already been transmitted to our respective elective bodies, and it speaks for itself. I join with the City Manager in conferring, underlying the commitment to safety in our community. So much has been done to achieve that, and so much will be done in the future. I also add that you should all be aware that we have an accredited police department. We have merged two accredited police departments, and we have a merger agreement that's been in effect for a number of years. The work of the department under the leadership of Chief Lovett has been measurable and significant from the standpoint of the safety issue brought up by City Manager Cutter. I am supportive of the transition proposal. I also understand, as you see here, the reasons for Chief Lovett's retirement, and I also want us to appreciate, as highlighted by the City Manager, the consequence and significance of those many years in which this man has served this community, and he has every right to exercise his right to retire.
All right, thanks everyone. As I mentioned, these are two prepared statements. We're not entertaining questions at this time. I appreciate all your patience, and thanks, and have a great weekend.
So Mike and Don, you hear it there. The chief has retired. He said he was going to do it within the next 60 days in his letter, but he's doing so immediately. Named in his retirement now, appointed as the new assistant or the new acting chief is going to be Major Juliet Tolbert. Surprising here is going to be the first female acting chief here, chief of police. Also, Terry Enoch, acting assistant chief, and acting major will be Mike Wilkins. So these are the appointments that have been made now as the chief has announced his retirement. We're going to have much more reaction coming up on the news at 6. Back to you guys.
Yeah, Don, no question. You point out that Major Tolbert, she has worked her way up in the ranks of the department over many, many years. And again, a first, because as far as I know, this is the first female interim appointment for a chief ever, and certainly the first female to head that department. It's never happened before.
Never before.
All right, Don Lagana, I know you've got a lot of questions down there. You'll be looking for answers. We'll check back in with you as the news continues this evening.
And we'll be back in just a moment. Well, Savannah is still reeling today about Metro Police Chief Willie Lovett abruptly announcing his retirement. Now, this after one of his officers claimed sexual harassment. Lovett hasn't been seen or heard since. Now, his sudden retirement announced in a live news conference late Friday. You saw it all right here on WTOC. But many are wondering who's behind the allegation and where is it all going? WTOC's Connie Cooper joins us live now from police headquarters. Connie, what do you know about the woman who's bringing the allegation?
Well, her name is Trina Mays. She's a detective here at Metro Police, and she's hired an attorney. But as of late today, she had not filed any legal action. We do, however, have two separate legal actions pending against the chief, two captains that claimed racial discrimination in hiring and in promoting. And the city is going to go ahead and move forward paying for Lovett's legal fees with that case. But if Trina Mays were to file her own suit, questions remain as to whether taxpayers would foot the bill.
If other suits are filed in the future, that's up to the council on a case-by-case basis, as that's been the city's policy in the past.
Detective Trina Mays is no stranger to the spotlight. In May of 2012, she fired her gun at a kidnapping suspect on Broughton Street. That suspect fled into the iconic Old Pink House restaurant, leading to an hours-long police standoff that brought downtown to a standstill. 2 months later, Trina Mays was back on the news when it surfaced that she and her husband, Metro Sergeant LaPrentice Mays, had gotten into a violent domestic dispute at their Pooler home. And get this, she was working as a domestic violence detective at the time. Trina Mays told police her husband had tried to hit her with an iron and that he threatened to kill her. No charges were ever filed. Both Mayses are still on the police force, and they declined comment for tonight's story. City officials have been in nearly non-stop meetings over the past several days just trying to sort this all out. Remember, still pending are those two racial discrimination suits brought by captains who said the chief decided who he'd promote based on race. And with more legal action potentially in the works, I asked the city attorney what type of immunity, if any, police have.
A police official or a lot of other officials have immunity from suits if they're acting within the scope of their authority and acting properly.
The city has hired an outside legal firm to investigate Trina Mays' claim. In the meantime, even though Lovett has resigned, city officials told me today that the investigation is very much active into her claim. Live at headquarters, Connie Cooper, WTOC News.
New at 6, we are hearing from the attorney representing Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police Detective Trina Mays, who claims that she was sexually harassed by now former Savannah Metro Police Chief Willie Lovett. And Lovett abruptly retired late Friday after the allegation first became public, but the city says that they're still actively investigating the harassment claim, and Mays' attorney has sent a letter to the city today saying that his client intends to sue. Connie Cooper is following this developing story, and she's joining us now. So Connie, what have you learned?
In that intent to sue letter, Detective Trina Mays claims a conspiracy among Metro Police. Her husband is making some claims of his own. In a complaint filed with the city's Human Resources Department, Sergeant LaPrentice Mays says his wife had an affair with the chief. LaPrentice Mays claiming the chief refused to promote his wife to sergeant after she cut off the affair, and that another officer, the head of the department's new drug squad, arranged the whole thing, calling Trina Mays to say the chief liked her outfit and asking if he could give the chief her cell phone number. Then, according to the complaint, after the affair was over, that officer allegedly calling to say the chief loved her and missed her. Here's what Mays' attorney had to say about the whole thing.
Both of them have been victims of a hostile work environment and issues having to do with sexual harassment and inappropriate advances and touching and things of that nature. And we would like very much for people to give them the space and time that they're going to need to be able to heal from what they've been subjected to. We understand we're in our preliminary investigation that this pattern of behavior may have occurred over a number of years. We understand that there may be multiple victims.
Of course, we reached out to Chief Lovett and to his attorney, but haven't heard anything back from them yet. Connie Cooper, WTOC News.
Now, speaking of information, go ahead.
Yeah, and you can read that document released today on our website. Just look under the local tab.